Hello, I'm Lee and welcome to Lee's Fish Keeping, and today we're going to talk about aquarium setups, and this is my top 10 of how I would do it, so I hope this helps. One of the most important things for the health of the fish is number one, tank size. Always pick the tank for the fish you want. You wouldn't get a 20-30 litre fish tank for adult angelfish or discus or even a goldfish. You will get something that small for like tetras, maybe even a couple of platies, but always remember tank size. The bigger the fish grows, the bigger the tank you want. Second on the list, substrate. You have to pick the right substrate you want. There's different substrates out there. There's gravel, there's sand, there's a whole lot of different colours of gravel, but my preference, I'm more for sand. The reason I go for sand is because for me, I think it looks more natural than having pink or green or blue gravel in a tank. It does look nice still, but for me I prefer the marine look. Even though the tropical fishies, I prefer the marine look. That's why I've got the dark blue lighting for. And also when the fish do what they do, the poo always lies on top of the sand. As with gravel, it can get in between and you have to stick the vacuum in really to suck it out, but for this it just sits on top and it's a lot easier to clean for me, and that's why I prefer the sand. Number three, tank decorations. Everybody's got their own preference when it comes to decorating the tank. Some people like the natural colour where it's normal brown gravel, a couple of live plants even with soiling. Some even get the driftwood or bogwood and pour it in so the tannins leak into the water to give it more of a natural colour. But me, I'm more for bright colours. That's why I go for artificial plants. That's why I go for the marine light. I just like that kind of colour in a fish tank. But like I says, everybody's to their own. Everybody likes different things. But there's one important thing you need to put in the tank, and that is somewhere for your fish to hide, just in case they feel threatened. Me, I always like a centrepiece, which probably most people do, and mine's just a nice piece of rock stuck in the middle, just like this, and you can see the pleco munching on it just to keep things clean. But also, like I say, is when it comes to fish to hide, as you can see, I've got a log in there, which sometimes they would hide in there if they feel threatened. And then, as you know, I've got a pleco. There it is, munching away. This is the pleco's little home, a little cave. No other fish goes in there, it's just the pleco. So when the pleco disappears, I know where it is. But luckily for me, I have got quite a quiet tank. This is the main one. This is the dominant angel of the four. But absolutely, as long as everyone stays in line, that's more than happy just to toddle around with the rest. And the tank itself is a quiet one, so I don't need to do much else with it. Number four, lighting. Everybody's got their own preference when it comes to the lights in the fish tank. As you can see, and I've said before, I like the more marine colour, but this tank didn't come with that. This is the Dual Rio 240, and this come with two bulbs. One of them was a natural white and the other one was a nature colour. The nature colour is like an offset white. It was nice, but I like the blue tinge. But the only difference is, if I put the blue tinge in with the white overpowers the blue. So I had to tape up the white one a bit, just to make the blue come through more, and I'll show you. And here is the bulb here. As you can see, with electrician's tape, I've taped it there, 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 there and there. At least 60%, maybe 70% of the bulb is actually covered, because it's that bright, it shines through. So like I say, I've taped it off. I've used electrician's tape because it's waterproof, and as you can see it's absolutely pitch black, so there's no light can shine through it, and that's why I use that tape for, and that's what I do to the bulb. I've done it with every bulb I've had, because obviously I always like the blue shining through. So if there's something you fancy, there's an idea for you. Now the cosmetic side of the fish tank's finished. It's now down to the business side, and number 5 is the filter. The filter is the most important piece of equipment you can have for your aquarium. The main job of the filter is to keep your water clean. If your water isn't clean, you're going to get ammonia spikes, nitrate spikes, nitrate spikes, and it's going to kill your fish. And that is something that you don't want to happen. But always remember, you need the filter, especially the pump. The pump has to be the right size for the tank. There's no point going out and buying a filter pump that can do 100 litres when I need something that does up to 240 to 300. Always remember to get the filter you need. That's very important. And I'm going to show you what this one looks like. Now to show you the filter that this tank is. This is the, if I just pull it out, there we go. This is the EcoFlow 600. This one can pump 600 litres of water an hour. Obviously the tank being 240, that's more than sufficient, and obviously you come with a tank, so that makes it a lot better. Like I says, this is the internal filter, but you also get external filters that hang on the back that pumps water, or you can get some that sucks up and then goes right to the bottom of the cabinet, but they're for big, usually for big aquariums. But this one is an EcoFlow 600, and this is perfect for this size. Now I've connected the filter back up. With it being a 600 litre, it's fast. The current it pumps out is fast, and because having angelfish don't like a big current. So what I've done, I've got myself a a heater clip, which you should stick on, but obviously because the heater sits in here, these aren't needed. So I usually get the heater clip, and I usually cut out a bit of coarse sponge, and then I'll connect the sponge on like that, and then I'll stand that in front of the pump outlet, and that takes the full force of the water, so my angels can swim around normally, no issues at all, and then it minimises the current by at least 90%. So that's perfect. So if you ever want to do that yourself, that's one of the best ways to do it. And now to show you the media part of it. I'm halfway through a water change now. That's why it's easier to show you. Like I say, comes in 2 cartridges. That's the top one, and this is the bottom one. Like I say, you get your coarse sponge at the bottom, you get your fine sponge, but you don't get these. These are ceramic beads. You buy these separate, and it just sits in perfectly there. And I also bought some ceramic noodles for extra media. You don't need to put these in, but since there's a gap, I use it. So I'll put them in there, then I'll push it right down like so, and that's the first cartridge. And then you got your second cartridge. I've already replaced the top layer, but yeah, again, that didn't have to be there. I've put it in. That's the more coarse sponge. That's a nitrate sponge. That comes with it. That has to go in. This one, that is the carbon sponge. That has to be replaced every 4 weeks. Otherwise, it starts putting the metals in whatever it picks up back into your water. Very harmful to your fish. And then there, that's normal filter pads. That's to collect all the rubbish and dirt as it's going into the filter. So that keeps the best part of the stuff off the others. And that gets replaced every week after I've done it. As you can see, there is more room if I want to put it, but I don't want to go crazy, because if I do put too much in, it'll end up restricting the flow of the filter. So that's all in ready, and that's, like I says, that's the media, and this is the cover that sits on top. But like I says, there's my heater. That's set at 26 degrees, and that's perfect to go. And that just clips on, sits on, and that's perfect, and that's ready to go. Number 7 on the list is heaters. If you've got goldfish or any cold water fish, you don't need a heater, but if you've got tropical or marine, you're definitely going to need one. And if you've never saw what one looks like before, this is it. Heaters come in different sizes. You've got smaller ones for smaller tanks, and you've got your bigger ones, obviously more powerful ones for the bigger fish tanks. I've got 3. I've got one in my main one here. I'm doing water for the water change next door, so I've got one in there because the temperatures have to be the same when it's going from there into here, so it doesn't shock the fish. And this is a backup one. This one is in case what happens to this, so it's always very important to have one on standby just in case. But if you, like I said, if you've got cold water fish, you won't need one, but it's only marine and tropical you do. I've got this one set at 26 degrees, perfect temperature for tropicals, and as you can see, they're swimming around happily. So if you need a heater, I recommend getting a spare one or two. Number 8 on the list, air pump. Your air pump is very important for your fish because it pumps oxygen into the water, which help your fish to breathe. But just like the heater and just like your filter, make sure you get the right size for the size of your tank. Say, the one I've got in here is for a 300 litre fish tank, so I've got a bit of spare, which is fine, which is no bother whatsoever. But I wouldn't get a 50 litre fish tank pump and put it in here. It would do absolutely nothing at all. And most of all, the things you need for your pump is your pump itself, and your air stone, and this is very important. This is your air valve, and I'll show you exactly where it goes. This is the pump I've got for this one. Like I say, this is for 300 litre, and as you can see, there's 2 tubes, 2 air tubes. That's because the bigger the tank, you're going to need more oxygen pumped into it, and I'm going to show you where the valves go. This is your pump valve. This allows air to be pumped into your tank, but it doesn't allow water to come down and get into your pump. This protects it, so because if water hits your pump, it's going to blow, simple as that. So it's always important to put in one of these valves so that never happens. And for the air stones, I've got 2 sponge filters in the tank for extra media. It's the large one there, and I've got a medium one there, and inside them I've actually got the air stones. As you can see, they're pumping in the oxygen for the fish, so it's always important to have air stones in your tank. 9 on the list, adding the water. When you add the water to a newly set up fish tank, just put tap water in. You don't have to worry about beneficial bacteria because there's absolutely none in it at all. So fill it up with tap water, fill it to the level you want, then put your heater on, put your pump on, and put your filter on. Because especially like me, if you use sand, it's going to cloud the water, because every time you put water in, it's going to come up. So just put the filter on, it'll clear the water, but as soon as you switch them all on, I use Prime. Love the stuff. I wouldn't use out else. This does so much. I always use Prime. This is a 240 litre, each cap does 200, so I always put 2.5 in when I set it up, and that'll do that perfectly. And when it's all settled after about 24 hours, take your pH levels. Your pH levels, the best thing is one of these, an API master test kit, and take your pH levels, because you don't want to be messing on with pH levels. You don't want to have to high chemicals in to match what you need for your fish. The best thing to do is get your fish that match the pH levels you already got. That's the best thing to do. But don't worry, farm fish like these aren't wild. These are actually bred in farms, so these can tolerate a wide range of pH levels. Nothing extreme, but they can tolerate a wide berth. So don't worry too much, but make sure you've got your pH levels done, because you need to know if you've got hot water, cold water, acidic water, anything like that. So do your pH test, and then once that's done, once it's settled, it comes to the most important thing about a fish tank, the cycling. And here it is, number 10, cycling a fish tank. This is so important. You just can't get fish, slap them straight in 24 hours after you set it up. They won't last long. They won't last long at all, especially if you fill a tank with loads of them. There's two ways you can cycle a fish tank. One way is the non-fish cycle, which every day, slap in a bit of fish food, let it sink, let it rot. Just keep putting it in every day, so let your ammonia levels spike. And then after about 8 to 12 weeks, the bacteria will build up, beneficial bacteria, and then it'll wipe it out, and then you'll be ready to high fish. And it could sometimes take more than 12 weeks. It can't do with non-fish cycling, but it's the safest way for the fish. And then the second one is the cycling with fish. This is highly debated, this, about the harm of the fish, which I understand, because they're going to suffer ammonia levels, they're going to suffer nitrate damage, everything. But if you do keep monitoring it and keep it close things on it, they will survive. They can survive. And I must admit, I've done it myself. Before I had this, I had a 200 jewellery Lido tank, and that was about 8 months ago, and I used three small platties to cycle that tank. Every couple of days I was testing it, I was doing water change every couple of days, I was keeping the levels as low as I can. I was also adding in quick start, which is that. I was adding in quick start every water change. It does work, it knocks a few days off, nothing major, but it does knock a few days off, and it does help. And I was adding that in, and that's the first time I've ever done a fish in cycle. And what happened to them? Well, 7-8 months down the line, there's one there, there's one there, and there's the other one there. The three of them are fine, they're perfect, no harm to them whatsoever. I kept on top of the cycle, and after about 7 to 8 weeks, I was fully cycled. And then you add other fish, but because the cycle is by how many fish you got in, once it's cycled, don't go out, buy 5-6 fish, slap them in, because the beneficial bacteria won't be able to handle that. Buy 1 or 2 at a time and put them in. Angels were the last things I put in here, because I put other small ones in first, and then I bought 4 angels. They were that big, dead small, only about 1.5 inches each. I put them in, and look at them now, starting to grow nicely. But I would just recommend it in non-fish cycle, but if you really keep on top of things, and keep testing, you can't get away with it without damaging the fish. And that's the top 10. I hope this helps. I hope it answers a few of your questions on setting up an aquarium. This is the first of a lot of videos. I'm going to concentrate on other ones, but this is the first one, and I hope you enjoyed.